It's been exactly 34 days into the new year, the year of 2022, the year that I can say so far actions and different activities pertaining to sports in the Kingdom of Eswatini has already taken a high note. Talk about football activities. We're expecting anytime soon to have a first round champion, a first round carrot champion waiting for the second round later on. Otherwise, other sporting codes, talk about your cycling, boxing, a lot is taking place and already it's just February. We can expect more towards the end of the year. And welcome. This is your Thursday edition, Temidlalo. The changes that once again we keep to remind you that have been made, where your Libor Eswatini that you're expecting to be on Thursday has been shifted to Monday, while the Temidlalo edition that has been before, being broadcasted on Monday has been now shifted on Thursday. So the changes, of course, has been adjusted. And we keep reminding you every time that when you're watching the show, don't think it was a mistake. Don't think that you're expecting the Libor Eswatini, then here comes Temidlalo. Otherwise, nothing has changed. Activities that took place over the weekend and upcoming competitions will be talked here live on Eswatini. One of the things that we'll be talking about is the road safety, cycling tournament that is going to be held this coming weekend. The Cycling Association took an initiative of trying to, what term should I use? Should I say to provide information, yeah, that's the right time, to provide information or to show, or rather to educate, that's the right term, the public on how to use the road, especially once you're using your bicycle. How do you share the road with other members of the public? The signs, where should you be riding your bicycle? So the competition this coming weekend from Virginia to Mahala, it'll be, emphasizing on that aspect. We'll be in the company of the president of the association, just to give us also the activities that we should expect in the next 9 or 7 months during the course of 2022, including the national championship, knowing that they are one of the top association in the Kingdom of Eswatini, so they should have something that we should expect them. Otherwise, they were not the only association that were going to give attention this Thursday, because talk about golf at Mananga this past weekend, there was a tournament. Funny enough, you have to understand that there were a lot of new things that were worn on the day. Look at some of the winners on the day had to walk away with golf equipment, something we would say it was a kind gesture of a kind from the tournament organizers. We look at what unfolded at Mananga over the weekend. Boxing, let's keep our hands up for the Shisanyama at Somploro for once again showing gratitude to the Boxing Association. They once again sponsored the tournament for the boxers, where different boxers, of course, gathered in their numbers to take part of the competition. Also look at that and see what unfolded on the day. Without forgetting, of course, the Techball Federation, one of the rising sporting code in the kingdom. They are continuing with their club competitions. One would say this time around it's club league, where it was a mixed double, singles, and doubles from different corners. Clubs, of course, have all to attend before the league is concluded. We'll see also what took place at the Mavuso Sports Center. Without forgetting that for the remaining 30 minutes of this program, we'll once again give you the highlights of what took place over the weekend in the M10 Premier League, looking at some of the clubs like Young Buffaloes, who are back to making headlines, having of course starting to getting points slowly and slowly. They're also in the chase for the title. Otherwise, Athletic Association also is another sporting code we'll be looking at. Now, sit tight. It's going to be a beautiful show. As you can see, athletes have been geared to look at some of the competitions. They can start, going home with awards. Otherwise, in this studio, I'm not going to be alone. For the next 30 minutes, I'll be in the company of the Cycling Association President, Mr. Azwid Ndwande, who is going also to be, for the first 15 minutes, I would say, the president of the association. But for the power that has been, given upon me this evening, I will hold him for the next also 15 minutes just to share ideas. I mean, he's besides being a photographer, besides being a president, he's also a photographer by profession. majority of you know him. So he has an eye for things. So he has seen what happens in different sporting codes. He just give me an opinion in different sporting codes that I'll be discussing. Different platforms where you can find us. It could be at home, on your school channel, YouTube, we're live, and other platform like your Eswatini TV app. Nguvu President, good evening. What a long period it's been. I think one thing I can tell you, the last time I was here in the studio, I was with you, and I'm back, I'm with you. Good to see you.
Oh, well, thank you, Feb. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
But I think I need to start charging appearance fees because it seems...
So very cool.
Yeah, very cool. So I need to start appearance fees.
I would say what's so very cool.
No, because I'm bringing in very useful information to the viewers.
Right.
But we're grateful for the opportunity to just keep our stakeholders engaged, to keep our communities well informed in terms of the activities that we are running as an association. So we're very grateful to Eswatini TV for the platform.
All right, 2021 was, one would say, a quiet year for the association. But just to look at the platform, I mean, you've got a good competition this coming weekend, road safety initiative. You want to teach the people how to use the road, especially cyclists. How can they share the road with members of the public, pedestrians, motor drivers, and everyone? Take us through the initiative that you'll be embarking on this coming Saturday.
Okay. I think for 2021 and 2020 we've had very quiet seasons.
Yes.
Largely because of the COVID situation. So this year we're looking at our calendar being a very busy calendar. We're having a lot of competitions planned, a lot of races planned, both MTB and road races. But we've seen over the years an increase in the number of cyclists who are getting in accidents on the road as they try to flex their muscles. Some of them are just commuting because we have different kinds of types of cyclists. We have cyclists who cycle just for recreational purposes. We have cyclists who cycle who are at a more competitive level. We have cyclists who actually ride bicycles to and from work. So we with this particular initiative, we're saying before the cycling season actually begins, let's get back and try to sensitize all road users in terms of our responsibilities, our different responsibilities to each other. Let's be kind, let's be considerate, let's share the road and observe the rules of the road as they are. So it's basically that, to say before we start with the program for the year, the first one should be this awareness ride, which we're hoping we will have it on more regular intervals, just to keep the awareness levels up. We'll see from the cyclists themselves to say, as a cyclist, I'm riding a bicycle, but then there's someone who's also running on the same road. There's a car on the same road. How do I interact with those other elements that are on the road? And also then our pledge also to motorists as well, to say, as they see cyclists on the road, how best then can they keep the cyclists safe on the road, because we all have responsibilities when it comes to sharing the road. So it's basically that.
President, because the reason why I'm going to explain why it is important, because among the things that you mentioned, I do too. I do run and I do drive. So I've had a challenge with cyclists sometimes when I'm driving. Ngithi would see kanzi lo muntu lona kufuna bekuphi yabona ngicina ngisebenzisa lamagama la ngasekahle kulomzuzu angithi sukukwatile. That's one. Two, when I'm running, so then I have a challenge where does the cyclist has to ride his bicycle or whatever, where does the car has to pass? There is a specific area for everyone. Now, the picture that is provided by your association has details, and then I think one person in life said that all posters have something to say. I want us to take the poster. There's 1.5 meter between that track and that cyclist. I want to believe that's Muzi Shabang.
That's our national. Those are our national road champions. Right?
So you have to keep 1.5 meter. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
Yes. Ideally, stay wider of the rider. So we basically asking for 1.5 meters. So when you see a cyclist, you just shift to the side. You just give that space to avoid any collision. One and two, also cyclists are reminded, because they also need to be cycling in the direction of the traffic, because some cyclists cycle against the traffic in the hopes that it actually increases their visibility and everything. Yet it's a higher risk of collision in terms of even
Okay.
yeah.
All
So
right.
we just need to be cognizant of that. So basically, our one of the requests is when you say cyclists, just make sure you give that space, that room for them to maneuver.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you talk about the message, I don't know, we can maybe bring it back or just discuss, well, since we've seen the picture. Does the 1.5 meter only applies to me as a cyclist, or you're also telling the one who's driving that he also should keep that 1.5?
It
In
applies.
case the cyclist forgot to keep the 1.5, so now I have a duty as a driver to also try and keep that distance.
Yeah, well, the recommendation basically is we encourage cyclists to ride on the shoulder of the road.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's our roads, some of them are not really in a good state on the shoulder, so some cyclists shift to the lane just to try and maybe whatever is on there. But then the recommendation basically is cyclists, we always encourage them to cycle on the shoulder in a single file if they're riding as a group. But then also with the motorists also, it's just to observe that, to say when I say a cyclist, I just shift to the side, because sometimes the more motor can actually then distract the cyclist. So we're giving that room, that space for cyclists to be safe.
Now, I want to believe that you are doing all this entire job in conjunction, of course, with the Royal Eswatini Police Association, of course, to help, Royal Eswatini Police Services to ensure that they do support you in everything. Now, let's talk about now the event itself. It starts at 6 a.m. The roads, where you're starting, the starting point, where is the finishing point. Let's also talk about in terms of registration, do you have a specific numbers now, or since it's open for everyone and it's a sort of like, one would say it's it's awareness, you are not really putting some strict rules to say people should register before Friday, people should be there before 6. Anyone can come at any time and just be a guest.
The starting time is 6 a.m. on Saturday by Kona Plaza. So we ride there, Eswatini, and then we go to Mahala, and then we turn at the roundabout in Mahala and back to the starting point again. Maybe just to highlight, because we are grateful for the Ministry of Public Works, who have actually given us permission to use the road. And then also we have engaged the traffic department as well to be able to escort us as we do that run, because it's all part of the rules that we have to observe, because we cannot just have the mass ride on the highway without getting the requisite permissions from the Ministry of Public Works, because they need to then say, no, on this day it would be safe for you to actually use the road, because, for instance, there's no major maintenance that's happening on the road. Because you might find you plan an event and it coincides with major maintenance that's happening on the road, and it creates a mess in the traffic scenario. So we're basically trying to also establish, strengthen those linkages with the key stakeholders like the police, the Ministry of Public Works, and other departments or other agencies like the MVA as well, whom we are looking to bring on board at some point to be able to drive the message across and be able to bring in a very strong message across the year.
All right. Now, that's a given. Our sports crew will be part of the event, of course, on Saturday. I'm giving you coverage. Yeah. I've already assigned. Okay. Now, we'll be there just to make sure that we get the coverage and just to get the inspiration from the cyclists. Now, before maybe we move to other things, the calendar of activities, you've released it. How is your calendar looking like now, from now, February, towards the end of the year? How is the calendar looking like, considering that now that you've been given a green light to proceed with the activities, unlike the previous year?
We're looking at a very packed, very action-packed calendar. We're hoping to start, we're starting this weekend with our safety awareness ride, which is, we want to set the tone to say this year we prioritizing cyclist safety, we prioritizing safety on the road and also on the trail. So we'll be doing other things as well with the MTB, the off-road, as cycling as well. So for February, for instance, we're looking at having the national times trials and then a few other races. But in total, I think we have about 14 confirmed races. This year, we should have about 7 road races and 7 MTB races spread across the year. Unfortunately, this year we do not have Swazi Frontier. Well, that's the information so far. We do not have the Swazi Frontier for 2022. We're hoping to see it will be back again next year, or maybe there will be changes later in the year. But the communication now has been our premier MTP event will not be for whatever reason, which is quite sad because it has actually built a name for itself and for the country across the continent. But we have quite a packed calendar, and we're looking at, in terms of keeping everyone engaged, giving it a sense of continuity. We are introducing a national series championship as part of our program within the association, to say we've picked 5 races across of each one of the disciplines. So 5 MTP races and 5 road races, and those races will form our selection, or rather our competition for the national championship series.
Okay.
So we're basically just working around now the modalities of the scoring and all that. So at the end of the year, we're hoping we'll be having a session where we'll be rewarding the performance of our cyclists throughout the year through maybe an awards dinner. So we have big dreams. Okay. We have big dreams, and we're hoping we'll see our sponsors will continue to support us as they have over the years we roll out some of the plans.
Now, beautiful things, of course, coming from the Cycling Association. You're not going anywhere, President. I will need your, assistance just to be here with me. I mean, I don't want to be alone. Who wants to be alone? Now, moving on, his job is done here, but he'll come in, he'll stay with me for the next 15 minutes or so, just to look at how things are unfolding in other sporting codes. God, for instance, over the weekend at Mananga, there were, maybe a competition that was being played, and different winners, the likes of Nick Jackson's, talk about Bennett. What unfolded on the day? There is a lot to talk about. Let's listen to some of the speakers on the day, and when we return, we'll react to what happened on the day.
Over 20 years in Shanghai, so I'm very happy to Privilege. Maybe for next time, if maybe I can put it back, I'll go for it. Thank you a lot, Privilege Investment.
Thank you for the opportunity, and we would like to just appreciate it on behalf of golfers, appreciate the initiative by Privilege Investments for sponsoring this golf day at Mananga Country Club today. We'd like to also just, as golfers, appreciate the support that is being given to Privilege, which allowed them to sponsor this event. We haven't seen so many prizes and high value prizes sponsored in golf locally, and thanks to Privilege for this launch. It's not the only tournament. This is one of several tournaments that they'll be sponsoring in the year at Mananga, so we'd like to encourage other golfers to participate and support Privilege Investments. Thank you very much.
We played today the first event of the Privilege Investment sponsored golf day. It was a fantastic golf day, attended by many golfers. Every hole was full, and the par 5s had 2 4-balls on them. We had a great day's golf. The course was good, the weather was superb, the prizes were unbelievable. So I think everyone had a great day. It was great prizes, and we really look forward to Privilege sponsoring over the next 12 months. And it's a great partnership between them and Mananga Golf Club.
Awesome stuff, of course, from the title sponsor, Privilege Investment. Thank you very much for community sponsoring sports. One of the things that I highlighted from that, pictures that we saw, Mr. President Zwide, this time / photographer. Golfers have got names now. That's a good thing. I mean, we only see this in soccer. What do you make of that?
It's very encouraging to see them well branded, because I think it's one of the things that has been...
Lewis, those are their names.
I think I love the branding. I love the way that they've actually been branded, that they actually need very tidy, because I think that's one of the things that's been missing in our sport in terms of just even be giving our sponsors the mileage as well through even the interviews. You could
There's
hear
nothing wrong donating rice and sugar, but I'm not saying it's But this time around, just giving equipment. I'm not saying rice and sugar is wrong. Don't get me wrong. But just this time around, it's equipment itself.
Yeah, and that speaks to how much the company that sponsored that event values the sport. So we need to give back. We, as sporting codes, we need to continuously give back to our to the sponsors who actually support our initiative. So it's very good to see golfers well branded, well dressed. I think golfers are always looking sharp, but let's say this is something different, definitely.
All right. Now, the only sporting that was active over the weekend, boxing, knowing that these days the title sponsor of a specific tournament known as Somhlolo Shisa Inyama, they were once again, able to gather different boxers over the weekend. And one would want also to get a quick reaction from some of the boxers over the weekend who took part of this competition. What did they get? How did they react to the tournament? And what are the title sponsor saying about the competition themselves?
Ishotha umdlalo wanamhla ngilele ovamile nje cishe sasho ukuthi every month end sitaba ne tournament la eShisanyama. Once more thank you to Shisanyama for the sponsor. Ema boxers that aba exposed kakhulu ayayithola i-game time, and that is a strength lesidingeka kuma boxers ukuthi ivele badlale kakhulu. Ile ngicela kusho very soon sitabe sinema national championships. Lena nje uyibona le tournament le kukhona lenye lesipropose kuyenda sifuna ihostwe ngemasotsha shotsi sifisela ukusibalandzela amanye amasotsha ase Mozambique sitawenda le training yabo noma kumbe leyo competition bese zingende lisedulu silungisela phela ema championships letako shotsi ataba end of February, and we're looking forward ukuthi ke ngam March makuphela March silungiselela kuya odlala eAngola lapho kunema zone 4 championships eAngola. So we want to make sure ukuthi badlali basezingende lisedulu kakhulu, and kungako namhla silana uyibona attendance nje badlali ba excited to be here. Sibonga nelitulu lisicolele kanti wonke umuntu ubekathi litawube lina siyathandaza ke thina vele invited futhi ivame kuphuma eceleni atibe ngalendlela ocabangayo kakhulu sibonga ema sponsor kakhulu lasendele kona, and solo sitivulile tandla kuma sponsor because njengaloku wathi ukuthi sibhakela support lezidlala abantwana abancane ukhanza ukuthi site kahle le support financially besifisile lokusidinga kampani tibuye to partnerisha nathi in a way ukuthi nato dikhona ku benefit njengaloku nyalo nje ngikhuluma ngeshisanyama. Eshisanyama indzawo lehle kakhulu abantu babete batohlalela lana kuyangcibeleka kuthulile kumnanzi kakhulu kungako nesibhakela sijabula kakhulu kuba part of a partnership nabo. Ungamangala ke bhuti ukuthi wena utawucabanga ngathi attendance le incumbi yabantu balana badlali most of them badlali kusho kona ukuthi iyendeka lento lesifuna kuyenda because the more the players the more competition lebakhona, and once kwaba ne competition siyalithembisa live ukuthi ngaphandle khona lesitahubila nako
kanjani phela. Hayi ngokuthi bese ngicela katheni kudlala but it's okay ngivele lokho ukuthi hayi sengibuyile emandleni since ngengajima ngiconnect jima almost 2 months so long ngiqhubeka ngipractice fine bengatholi kuhloba lekudlala ema fights. So ifight yami namuhla ngiva yang kukhona le motivator khona lokho ukuthi maybe ngakhona kulungisa lapha nalapha la ngazothi kuyashoda khona but nje ngiveng right khona kudele ngikhala ngako yeah singema boxers kuyasita kakhulu ukuthi kube nema fight because kwende ma preparations ungakhoni kodlala kuyakulemata ngoba awukhoni kulungisa ama mistakes akho ukuthi ushoda kuphi naku. So lesikhathi ujimele ukuthi uhambe udlala kukwenda lokho ukuthi wathi lokho uyolungisa ini nawo yabo.
Once again, a huge applaud to the title sponsor, Somhlolo Shisanyama, for once again seeing a need to sponsor these boxers. In his words, of course, the President, Webster Lukele, highlighted how this competition is going to support their plans for national championships and the Region 5 to be held in Angola later this year. Now, moving on, another sporting code that once again there is on the rise, it is Tekball. Tekball Federation, of course, continued over the weekend with the club league where mixed doubles, talk about singles, we look at the table itself. But so far, what have you made about this league and the sport itself, Mr. Zwide, looking at how they are so far growing? Look at also the Mavuso field, how they are trying to make sure that it's complete, the games are being played. We're seeing the mixed doubles, meaning a male and female can combine and be a team against a male and a male which means can be a double of a male and male. Everything is possible with tech ball. What's your reaction, President?
I think tech ball owes us a few notes in terms of how they've been able to mobilize everything and get people so much interested in this sport. But I think one thing that I picked over the weekend, I was at King Sopuza Stadium to watch Tabangulu Tambuti playing Babane Highlanders.
Yes.
And I was watching Banele Nzabanzaba.
Yes.
The way he was controlling the ball, the way he was playing. And I could see some of the moves, it's moves I've seen him do when he was playing tech ball in the few tech ball games that I've actually watched. I watched him also against Babane Swallows. The way his game has improved since he started playing tech ball, it's very impressive. And if you haven't seen him play tech ball, you will miss some of the elements that have then developed in his game as a result of him participating in the sport. So I think some of the sports are very they have different synergies, and they work well for the development of players for other sporting courts. But I think this one in particular, I've seen how it works for soccer players in particular, with special reference to Banele and Zabanzaba. I think he has developed in a very different way since he started playing tech ball. So
wow.
It's a very welcome development in the country, and I see it benefiting a lot of other sporting courts, and also a lot of other athletes who may not be able to participate maybe in other sports, because as you can see, they are playing in a sheltered place. So Sineje, when it rains, then our chances of actually playing or cycling are limited. But
President, I'm impressed with that analysis. You even mentioned the game you went to watch. You mentioned the player. You have to be typical an analyst. Now let's take a look at some of the results of that league activities that played over the weekend. I will try to come closer to the screen, as you can see. But now I can see some of the name. Of course, that is Ematekers, Mfanifuti Pembe, and Njabuliso Simelane. That's number one, Ematekers. And also there is Spamandla Mabuza, Sunday Dlamini, number two. That is the Blues. There is also under double classic Mdeni Mbuisa and Kondisi Mbuisa. Now, the actual winners, as we can see, there's Mfanifuti Pembe and Njabuliso Simelane. And then look at the bronze at that side. I mean, when you look at the level of competition, especially that team, Ematekers, by also the likes of Taribo Pembe. I also saw another double where there's Dlamini. There's different creativity within the winners. But at the end of the day, those who have spent time within this sport, they have been able to get results. What's your take on what you're seeing?
The first one would probably be, we need to see what we do with the Ematekers, because I've seen them win almost all the competitions that have been. So I think it's an issue that we need to address. It's becoming their dominance is becoming an issue, a matter of national, a matter of national importance. We just need to see how we can
deal with them.
Where we can go make consultations and be able to deal with them. But it's also interesting that I think with the numbers that are clubs that are increasing, we can see we can see that the development is actually growing, and the sport is actually developing, which is quite a lot.
Uniformed,
Yes, and especially also I want to also commend the officiating as well, because I think most sporting codes, our sporting code also included, we have very limited number of officials, and I think tech ball, what tech ball has come with is, in terms of the officials, one, they are well dressed, well presentable, and also just in terms of the numbers of the trained officials as well, they have quite a good number of trained officials.
Wow, there you have it. A beautiful analysis from the president. For just a joke, I did ask him just to stay with me a bit for the sake of being able to, I was not really in a good position just to stay alone. That for him to stay here, the analysis that he's been able to provide so far, I'm quite impressed. Let's move to athletics, knowing that there's another sporting code that we have in the country by the name of Athletic Association. They are quite active and busy, as you can see this athlete on the screen. The calendar of activities has been released. They have got different competition, including the national championship. This is one of the upcoming rising Menzogu from CB athlete. What did you make of this association? I want us to, look at what happened over the weekend, listen to some of the interviews, and when we come back, we also talk about how they have improved as an association. Of course, the records pulled by the likes of Sibusiso Matsenjwa, and how far we're looking to go with the athletes in the country. Listen to what unfolded over the weekend under the Athletic Association.
Yes, sisemsebentini la nabo bamfana labancane. Babantwana abancane sibabonile. I think if nasingathi nje the previous year we have seen them bahamba baya kuma World Junior Kenya lapho khona bahamba baya relay. Sababona futhi labanye babo bahamba baya khona Lesotho Maritime 5 Games whereby bakhona ukuthi babuye na some few medals, and of course na near finishes lapho khona baba nabo position 4. Lesekulungiselako manje la sikhona khona nasibuka le season lensha letako iphethe ama-competition amaningi. Kwekuqala ngewama World Junior futhi labantu abakhona tabaseColombia eKhali. Lapho khona we are trying to see ukuthi sithole abantwana abangaqualify for those World Junior Championships. Ngentulu kwaloko futhi tabakhona region 5 lo tabakhona eMalawi. Nakhona lapho ngilasigathe khona ukuthi sichubeke simixe yona equality letasibuyela nato tindondo eveni. Bese ke sekuba khona ke ama Commonwealth Games lase Birmingham. Nalapho we looking at ukuthi kube khona abantwana laba lela ukuthi bangena lapho either babe part of the team relay or ukuthi ba qualify kuba part of those games. And of course khona la khathe ekhaya sikathile ukuthi abantwana bende ngcono, sibe happy ukuthi bende ngconywana last year, kodwa nanyalo siba challenge ukuthi baphushe kakhulu bende ngcono kunakuqala. Bese ke sitawubona nabo bantwana labanye labancane kakhulu. I think njengoba simbalo omnyedwana la who's 12 years old, sibuke ma Olympic Games letako la khona eSenegal bathi ngama Youth Olympic Games anga 2026. Lama games la ngosigathe kusisilive nasingatargeta ku develop abantwana labana 12 years manje, lesigathe ukuthi class nakufika lo ma games la babe ba ready for those games. So ngilese busy ngako ke nebakithi.
Target am lamakhulu ukuthi 100 meters ngigijime 10:5 to 10:3 bese ku 200 ngigijime bo 21:2 or 21:1.
Quite impressed. When I joined the sports industry, they were talking about Phumulo Nziniza, Sibusiso Matsenjwa. In that interview, in those pictures, there's nothing like that. We're talking about development. How impressed are you?
I'm very impressed with their long-term athlete development plan, because they are not looking at the here and now. They are already planning for something that's happening in 2026, and with very clear targets to say this is the age group that we are focusing in for the long term. Because I think sometimes we get caught up in wanting the quick wins, want to win now, want to do things to happen now, without actually realizing, for instance, Bolt has been in a high performance program for a very long time, and we are seeing the results now. So it's a mindset that we need to shift to as sporting associations, to say, much as winning now is fine, but let's also then start investing for the future, because we athlete preparation today is not going to win the race, it's not going to perform at this best in the race that's going to happen next year, but need a long-term plan for that athlete to acclimatize and everything. Because I believe Bolt already has been in camp, or has been in training for the Commonwealth, for the Commonwealth Games that are happening in July. See, so it's very impressive what the Athletics Association has done, and also maybe just to congratulate Babe Zakele Dlamini on his election as well as the deputy president of Iwoka after
Politics.
that.
President, congratulating another president. Now, President, thank you very much for being here, and I think we can appreciate that you being here as president of Cycling Association, you can also stroke analysts sometimes if we need your assistance. And thank you very much for your information, your analysis, your ideas. Thank you. We're always privileged to have you.
Yeah, I'll be sharing my race card with my rate card with the producer, just in case you need more analytics.
Or in case to yes. charge. There have it. That was the Eswatini Cycling Association president who was in the studio with me for the past 30 minutes or so, just looking at how things are happening in the Cycling Association, and also went on to give us his own opinion on different sporting codes, what he thinks as one of the person who also visits other sporting codes to see what happening. Now, up next is the remaining few minutes to give you what unfolded match 13 under the M10 Premier League, games that played under the M10 Premier League, just to give you a package of some of the things that took place over the weekend. If you couldn't get to the stadium to watch the games, this is your moment. You'll watch it until the closure of this program, including one of the clubs that started the league on a low note, that is Young Buffaloes. Over the weekend, they're once again back to winning ways. What about Monini Pirates? What's happening to the team? Let's take a look at these highlights. Otherwise, until we meet again next week, Thursday, Sidlala Kamananzi.
Lethi lithini libandla siyambonga uNkulunkulu uhlelo lize libuyele emoyeni.
Basically ngingathi nje empeleni yabona uNkulunkulu nakadala umhlaba including bantu.
Leti khathi leti tethenjisiwe ngofundisa incwadi ya John chapter 16 verse number 33.
The way the gospel has been portrayed nayiletshwa lakubantu yabo yende ukuthi abantu babe offended.
Sikholwa futhi ukuthi sidaphinde siba nabo evikini lelitako.
Why should we pay our TV license?
The content on our local television is actually more up to date. The industry is enhanced.
It is a criminal offense not to pay your TV license and attracts a fine of 500 emalangeni or 6 months imprisonment.
And the industry is definitely blooming, ladies and gentlemen. So that's what we have for you. But we'll be right back just after the break, and we'll give you more of Miss V.
Pay my TV license. That's why I can enjoy the benefits of an enhanced industry and keep track with recent transformation.
Mommy, who pays for a TV license and what are they paying for?
The owners of TV set and a gadget with a tuner like DVD set have to pay.
Pay your TV license at NetBank with the details provided on screen. Or use your cell phone via the mobile money pay. You could also visit your nearest post office and pay there. Pay your TV license via Eswatini Mobile Imali. Any TV device retailer can purchase a license to trade. Pay your TV license and enhance the industry.
It was a free-scoring weekend with a total of 17 goals scored in match week 13 of the MTN Premier League. Young Buffaloes were the big perfectly for the first round incentive. Royal Leopards, who are fresh from their CAF Confederations Cup trip from Algeria, had to quickly forget about their misfortunes and focus on their title chase when they hosted Vovovo at the Galanga Technical Center. Had to turn The defending champions fought back to secure a 2-2 draw after trailing by 2 goals. The first half failed to produce any goals, ending in a blank scoreline. The second half, though, was a total different story as Vovovo came out gun blazing with Londra Mukaba first on the scoreboard. Innocent Dlamini forced an own goal which gave Vovovo a 2-goal lead. Waken up by that as they quickly pulled one back through Mlamuli Msibi. With just 2 minutes of play remaining, Leopards continued attacking relentlessly, and it finally paid off when Tabiso Mkokwana tapped in a rebound from the keeper to make it 2-2. And that's how the match will end, with the Leopards dropping 2 crucial points. Young Buffaloes, who are slowly regaining their form, were in search of their 7th win of the season when they welcomed a struggling Rangers at the Mavuso Sports Centre. Amatole saw the return of their prolific striker Piwas Lwabelwabe Dlamini, who was out for 3 weeks due to an ankle injury. Rangers, who have heard their fair share of problems, were hoping to build from their goalless draw against Vovovo. Amatole showed early intent, piling pressure on Rangers' defense, seeing Mbongwa Matebula's chance cleared off. However, the visitors were not out of the woods as Matebula's header landed on the side net. Minutes later, Sandile Kamete almost benefited from a slip-up, but he headed wide. An unsettled Buffalo's defense should have been punished halfway through the half. Spamandla Mabuza not clinical in front of goal. Rangers were left to relish their missed chances as they were punished soon after. Sfisa Mazibugo with a pouncing header, netting his 3rd of the season. Rangers were in a quick search of an equalizer, but it wasn't to be as the young Buffalo held on to take a 1-0 lead to the halftime break. The halftime pep talk was motivation enough for Dominic Gunena's charges, dominating the early exchange. Their hard work soon paid off. Mazibugo fouled by Mchali inside the penalty box. Sandile Kamete stepped up, netting Amatole's 2nd. Rangers were out to keep the match well within their reach, exploiting spaces, but their attempt was easily dealt with by Pumlani Ngobese. Substitute Lizo Zwane was wasteful in front of goal. After missing out on a number of chances, Zwane made no mistake, pouncing home on a loose ball after a ball handling error by the goalkeeper. The home team were not done. Zwane was fouled outside the box by Mfanasibili Kunene. Kwaketfala's sweet right foot was enough to net Amatole's fourth of the match to what will probably be a contender for the goal of the season. Gunene's charges were on some Chisampama vibes, but Ndoda Mthethwa shot straight to the keeper. 4-0 to Amatole, and that's how Stella got her groove back.
I don't know what happened, because in the past 4 games, we were quite okay tactically. Today, tactically, we're disappointing. It's true, quality of the players is not the primary quality that I'm expecting. Maybe window period will help me somehow. But at the moment, the game didn't go our way tactically, because our aim was just to contain them mostly in the midfield and the counter press where we have lost the ball. But we ended up opening more spaces in between. Then they use more pockets in our holes of our defenders, because there was just a lot of holes in the defense, and they capitalize. And even our goalkeeper today was not on the party. It was soft goals from him, a shy, but the boys will grow.
Last weekend asikadlali kani bese sisithathe momentum, so but nje indlela abadale ngayo bakhombisile ukuthi kude longayo lokulahlekile ngathi basebenze kahle kakhulu. No, ngicabanga ukuthi indlela lesitale ngayo sitale kabi, so kuze ama players akho alokwanyana efanele rotate. Ngicabanga ukuthi ngiloko lokusitako and bathathe positive abakuthatha ukuthi ayish leni but bekahle kakhulu. No, odayi ukuthi mhlawumbe udlala lapho ngokuthi maybe seyi defender yini. Mule ndlela esidlala ngayo fanele sibe more offensive. So yena u-offensive, so kulanza ibhola emuva phinze enyuke kusita kakhulu. La ngembili junior bokumuntu lo udlala ka right nakhona solo offensive. Izithi nje ukuthi manje sibafe simfake ngekhathi but kulokunye lo attacker ku solo attacking.
Seabeds were hoping to continue with their fairy tale run when they hosted Moneni Pirates at the Mavosa Sports Center on Saturday afternoon. Inyoni Zolwandle's stellar run has seen them enjoy a top 2 spot, their best showing in top flight football, having gained promotion back in 2016. Moneni Pirates, who have been blowing hot and cold in recent times, knew the task at hand if they are to get something against Seabeds. It was a game of 2 halves to get things going. The game's first real chance fell to Sandumuzi Zwane, whose shot was blocked, resulting in a corner. Zwane was proving hard to contain, heading wide, much to the relief of the visitors. Pirates' defense was having a hard time dealing with set pieces. Heading home to give Ntokoze Sekwebu missed out on a chance to double Seabeds' lead. It was slowly starting to feel like a Seabeds show, seeing a one-way traffic and Begisisa Dlamini keeping Pirates at bay. Seabirds block in the second half with Pegumuzi Mamba making a run for it, but Dlamini was well aware of the danger coming offline to clear it out. Chances were hard to come by for the visitors, Malibongwe failing to connect with the cross. It was an issue of Ngufuna Kumbulala. Bongiswa Dlamini's powerful shot was enough to send chills down Dlamini's spine. One could easily feel Sangweni Mpumuzi was fouled by Dlamini, and the referee Kalkolos Pepo didn't hesitate, pointing to the spot. Dlamini was too casual, seeing his kick saved by Bafana Dlamini. It wasn't an easy office day for the visitors, and Mfanzile Fash Nzemanza's short of the target. Seabirds held on to take all 3 points.
Hambe kahle. Moneni Pirates came to us and we tried to siba contain. I'm happy ngeteam yami because first half ngifake team le more attacking, and we were able to get the goal. Then second half I made sure ukuthi nangishintsha lama substitutes ami ngithola abantu labadawukhona ukuthi si protect lesi sina. Kulukhuni ukukhuluma ngaloko because lengibukako mina enyala kusile carrot ngisabuka ukuthi relegation ngibalekela njani ukuthi ke ngithatha one game at a time.
It's one of those difficult games to comment about, more especially when you've created so many chances and you don't get anything out of it. I think we just lost concentration on the set piece and we considered a goal that, with all due respect, I feel like it was a very simple goal. But we still gave a brave fight. We're still a good team. We just correct some few things. We are okay. It's always very difficult to encourage the boys after such a performance. These boys, they played very well today. They put their lives on the line, and I'm happy. It's just that maybe I need to say I'm sorry for them. You know, sometimes as coaches, it's sad. I wouldn't say it's short because everybody had the problem with score. I think we had some decent chances we could have wrapped the game, but we didn't. But as coaches, it gives you an assignment to, when you go back to training on Monday, to keep on making, on finishing. Today the difference was that we didn't score. It has been going on, I think, for the past 3 games we have not been very clinical. Although we are now having experience, we just recalled in Fash to come in and put in a little bit of some experience. He got 1 or 2 chances we were unlucky, but we still remain a very good team. I'm proud of the boys.
Not afford any slip-ups when they welcomed Tambuti at the King Sopuza II Memorial Stadium on Sunday. Playing catch-up, Tambuti had all the time to prepare for their encounter after a week's rest. Tambuti's plan of taking all 3 points was centered around their skillful player Mpendulo Ngidi to create magic up front, as well as goalkeeper Mpendulo Kele at goal. Sounds like a solid plan, especially when you have all the answers. Fresh from their derby win, Highlanders wanted to continue with their momentum. Inkunzi started the match brightly with Sabelo Skalinzinisa, who was the focal point of Highlanders' attack, already on 12. 4 minutes later, Tambuti equalized it through Banele Shongwe. Tambuti were in the spirit of giving, failing to clear their line, the ball falling to the feet of Sikali, who made no mistake, netting his second, a well-played team goal, equally as good as Tambuti defense errors on the day. Ayanda Kadlela thought he had equalized again, but it wasn't to be. A close call indeed. Muchacha was creating all sort of problems for Tambuti, but Pilani Mkondvo's tame shot was too soft for the keeper. Tambuti was steadily building from the back, Ngiti and Banile Shong were combining well, with Kanyagweze stepping up to the challenge. Highlanders were hungry for goals, dominating the opening stages of the second half, with Muloto trying from range. It was an issue of being in the right place at the right time as Sanele Mkweli guided the ball to the back of the net, netting Inkunzi's third in the 70th minute. Tambuti had a chance of their own, Mlandvo Nkonyane failing to capitalize on that. Sabela Sawakamete should have put the match beyond Tambuti's reach, but his effort coming off the woodwork. That's how the match will end, with the Scarlet's brace sending Highlanders to the top of the MTN Premier League log.
Yeah, listen, it was one of those, again, I told the players, if you come here with the wrong attitude, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult. We struggled, to be honest, first half, and then I got to the changing room at half time. I had to get on top of them so that they can change mentality. Remember, last season we have played this team. We played them twice without a win. So if we want to win the league, we have to come to each and every game with the right mentality, with the right attitude, with the right desire, with the right commitment, so that we can give ourselves a chance to be, where we want to be, especially end of first round.
Important 3 points for the chase, coach. Important 3 points.
Yeah, no, listen, this is massive. Remember, a team that wants to win the league, they have to win every game, unfortunately. So every game that we're playing, it will be important. Every 3 points that we're getting, how we're getting it, it will be massive.
Is it an advantage for you that you are playing ahead of those who are chasing behind you?
Listen, I love it. I love it like this. I believe that they're going away again back to Algeria. I love it. They must come back and chase. I'll try to push the players to come again with the right mentality next week. I will try to encourage them. I'll try to push them. I'll try to instill the right attitude so that we can win again. When they're gone, we must have at least a stretch again. They must come and chase the league.
Yeah, no, our plan by ending the first half. Basis consider the goal again, but we the plan was we wanted to start play at 2. So success yakona equalizer. Kubenje nala yotingi nganya bekhona cishe nje ma chances esotholile na marking yethu beyingasi kahle kulama central backs. I mean lama le anchorman at lang 2. So bokhanza ukuthi isikhathi esiningi nakathi bapressile abalembili bayishaye bakhanze ukuthi laba bondolo nalolo munye beta short bayithole baface bona kanti kufanele bahambe nabo banamathele kulama central backs ethu.
Angathi ngamangathi ngibone kabili but ke
chances
ngekhathi accountini bekwetha but ke badlali bakho ebhenjini angathi at some point for bita badlali fa umaphe bathi bebethe laba reactor ngabe attitude badlali ejimini nala gemini ungathini ngayo?
No, badlali cishe ejimini cha attitude futhi banayo ngoba noyibuka lento lena ejimini cha cishe ba respond ngwede wathi ukuthi mhlawumbe umuntu inside but bona cha bengicaba warm up kwendele ukuthi masinyane usheshe urespond but ke abakakwendi vele kukabi ukukhombisa ukuthi vele kulento lesimo senteka kufuna ukuthi phela kubashaye yeah ngoba lose so many chances lapha la ngadingana ukuthi umane uthephe and solo silala siyawathola ama chances siwageje shothi ke bezamile ukukhuluma ngale attitude yabo ukuthi mane umuntu nje azame ukuthi mana athishaye yathi nje ukuthi yathi ngifuna kwenda better ngifuna kuba ngcono kula next game ema chances nakho ngwafake aphele kuvela nje last first half siwathole vele we had chances and Islane Highlander cishe bona bana but nje we tried our best but from the performance lena nasingachubeka sithi mhlambe ma results down so only nje poor defending la ukufuna ama zones la ufuna clear khona decision kwanze ukuthi na like nje amagoli lang 2 goalkeeper okay naleli ufuna clearish nani yabo so nje naleli sonke nje akusiyo amagoli longathi mhlambe kube nje kulawo ma defending.
A confirmation of the other results in the MTN Premier League. Vovovo held their own against the Royal Leopards, playing to a draw. Malandi Chiefs registered their first win of the season, while there were also victories for the likes of Green Mamba, Seabeds and Babane Swallows. And now a quick look into the Premier League log. Babane Highlanders are leading the pack with 30 points after collecting maximum points this past weekend. Royal Leopards dropped 2 crucial points against Vovovo. Seabeds round up the top 3 with 26 points. The bottom of the log sees Tinyosi, Malandi Chiefs and Tambuti all on 10, 6 and 3 points respectively.